Quinshon Judkins is a dynamic running back who was a star coming out of high school and committed to Ole Miss. He's a player who is known for his powerful running style and exceptional balance. He made an immediate impact in the SEC, leading the conference in rushing yards and touchdowns during his freshman year, then decided to enter the transfer portal. Going to Ohio State, teaming up with Travion Henderson, and leading his team to the championship game and winning it. Standing at 6 foot and 219 pounds, Judkins possesses a versatile skill set that makes him a complete three-down back, excelling at both running between the tackles and catching passes out the backfield. His impressive stats, over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, and averaging 5.5 yards per clip is saying a lot because he shared the backfield with a big-time athlete in Henderson. With all the tools to be a major threat in the NFL, let's break him down and see what he did this past season. So on this play here, we see Judkins' patience as a runner. At the running back position, you have to be patient and allow your offensive line to establish their blocks. You'll see the wide receiver Egbuka, another prospect that's coming out this year, squeeze along the offensive line and completely wipe out the defender. And with Judkins, he stays patient, cuts inside, and is off to the races. And by me watching this game, he was one of the main reasons why Ohio State won this game. And it's great to see players like him showing up when it matters most. So we'll go ahead and rock with it. So looking at this play here, just watching Emeka, he's motioning and takes off, shooting to the left and clashes with that blitzing safety. And as soon as Emeka engages in contact, Quinshon sees it, plants that left leg, and slices right through the defense. And as you can see, he is still giving defender hezzy fakes. When you're playing that running back position, every movement matters. It can be the biggest difference when it comes down to some of these reps. Now this player's seeing daylight, and he is completely taking off. And with a player like Judkins, he's not the fastest athlete on the field, but I say this all the time, it's not always about how fast you are. Do you have the vision? Do you have good balance, patience? That's what really matters when it comes down to playing in the backfield. And to see a player that has been productive everywhere he's been, from Ole Miss, Ohio State, as well as in high school, you have to go out there and get this kind of talent. And to see what Travion Henderson did this past year as well, it's not easy for any running back to just go in there and get burned on the field as well. But that just shows how consistent this player is and also going out there and doing it in big-time games. But seeing him going out there and being patient, allowing Emeka to finish off that block, and he uses that as leverage was great to see, making game-changing plays when the lights are the brightest. One thing about Quinshon, he has a knack for breaking tackles. He will test your tackling technique. If you underestimate him, you will pay for it. Watch him use his right arm to get away from the defender, buying himself time to cut inside and cross into the end zone. And these are the crucial details we need to focus on when evaluating running backs in this year's class. So we'll go ahead and split it. So locking on this play here, just watching the patience from Quinshon. Number 4 tries to grab him, but he gives him a quick stiff arm. And with this type of player, not only on this play, but he was doing this all throughout the season. If you don't have a proper tackling technique against this kind of talent, he will find ways to get extra yardage, cutting inside and scoring a touchdown. And seeing this player's energy, you can just tell it rubbed off on everybody on offense as well as the defense. Sometimes it just takes that one dynamic player to get things going. And one thing I do look for with these running backs, you got to be tough as well as going out there and being consistent. And that's what you get when it comes down to a player like Quinshon. Here's another play that demonstrates the same technique, using that right stiff arm to score another touchdown. And to see a player like him finding creative ways to ward off these defenders and finish plays effectively is how you can get moved up draft boards. So locking on this play here, he's getting a draw play. He's trying to get to the outside and gives him the same kind of stiff arm. The thing is, when you're going up against a player like him, if you're arm tackling, he will leave you on a highlight reel, scoring another touchdown and getting it done. And I'm not sure why he ended up going to Ohio State. He was really balling out at Ole Miss, and he knew that Henderson was going to get a lot of burn on the field, but this player was not tripping. He went to that school and made a statement. And hopefully these NFL scouts, they pay attention to things like this. Sometimes they can get caught up on players being backups on top of there being a plethora of running backs coming out this year. But what separates this player from a lot of these running backs coming out this year, he has shown he can do this in the SEC or the Big Ten. on top of having the ability to be a 3-down running back. So seeing him going out there getting busy in the perimeter, using stiff arms, and finding ways to be able to get away from these defenders was awesome to see by the young running back. Here's a rep here that I seen from the championship game where Quinshon showcases his receiving ability. First, unleashing a slick juke move that creates separation. And his elusiveness helps him find a gap in the defense and position himself in the back of the end zone for an easy score, showing that he's fully capable of being a dual threat running back once he gets to the next level. So let's run it. So looking at this play here, just watching Judkins, he's downloading that linebacker 34, plants both feet, and serves a juke. And a lot of these linebackers, they're very stiff. When you have them lining up against these running backs, that can be a complete mismatch. So he gains separation. The linebacker heads to the quarterback, and he finds Judkins wide open for a touchdown. You do have some of these backs that only play on the first 2 downs, but with a player like Judkins, you can use him as a Swiss Army knife because you can see on film that he does have that spatial awareness, a guy that can be able to go out there to catch screen passes, Texas routes. Some of these plays, they even had him lining up in a slot. So that shows that you can be able to utilize him all over the field. But to see him find a weakness in the defense on this play really says a lot because there will be times where these quarterbacks, they try to buy more time looking for that open receiver. So it's always good to be a player that the quarterback can count on. With Judkins, we already said that he's not the fastest back, but he does have enough speed to get to the edge. You'll see him slicing between the trenches, get out in the perimeter, and use his athleticism to gain extra yards. You don't need to be the quickest player on the field, but if you can beat the opposition to the edge, that's always a huge plus in the eyes of NFL scouts. So we're going to spin it. So looking at this play here, just watching his movements, these plays like this matter when it comes down to these running backs, because usually when you can be able to move like this, it can make the biggest difference. So he puts himself in the right position. Now it's time to use his vision. Taking off and finding a way to beat that defender to the edge. And it's so good to be able to see that right arm of his. He uses it to be able to get away from a lot of these guys. He didn't end up scoring on his rep, but it shows that this player can go out there and get it done. And that's a big boy too. 6 foot, 219 pounds. This is the kind of size we like to see playing running back for the team. And usually when you can be able to get this kind of production from the running backs, Travion Henderson, as well as Quinshon, it's going to bring the best out of the quarterback, the tight ends, as well as those wide receivers. So those 2 running backs had a lot to do with this team's success. And to know you have a player that can be a security blanket for the quarterback, you have the ability to play in gap schemes because of your toughness. You can play in zone schemes because of your patience, as well as your vision. These are the type of players here that you pound the table for come draft day. With a player like Judkins, he isn't just a tough runner and a reliable pass catcher, he's also explosive. You'll see him navigate through the defensive line with excellent vision and footwork, find a lane, and take off. And this was a play here that ended up being a highlight reel touchdown that broke the defense's spirit. This kind of game-changing ability from the running back position helps keep the playbook wide open. So let's run it. So looking at this play here, just watching Quinshon, just watching the wiggling when it comes down to this running back and finds the hole. With these running backs in the NFL as well as college, all it takes is half a second for these guys to make a chunk play. Seeing green grass and is headed for the end zone. And number 11 was hawking him from the side. Like I said, he's not the fastest running back, but he has enough speed to be able to get to the end zone and score these long run touchdowns. But I do think he might end up being a low 4.5 athlete. It's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to test. And if a player like Travion Henderson wasn't there this past year, I think he would have did a lot more damage this year. So not only what he did at Ohio State, you got to pay attention to what he did at Ole Miss, leading the SEC in rushing yards and going out there and getting busy. So in these final clips here, we'll see Judkins' blocking ability. He's not perfect in this area, but his consistent effort is encouraging. And that's always a good start when it comes down to coaching. So let's run it. So looking at this play here, just watching the quarterback, it's a run by the quarterback in the inside, but Judkins steps up and he clashes with that linebacker. And to be one of the better run blocking running backs, you got to get down to the technique things. It's not always about thumping these defenders, because sometimes when you thump them, they can easily disengage and get to the ball carrier. But I love to be able to see the effort from him. He's not one of those soft running backs. He wants all the smoke, so he will go out there and give these defenders some bump when it comes down to blocking. Not only just single blocking, combo blocking as well, where these offensive linemen are peeling off and trying to get down to the second level. So he's pretty much trying to do it all, keeping himself busy. But consistency is key. Sometimes he does get confused as far as some defenses trying to blitz and trying to figure out the guy to be able to block. But having a good understanding of what the defense is trying to do, that's what's going to get this player in the right position. So it'll take time to get to where he wants to be as far as blocking, but everything else this player can be able to do. And this is why I believe he has the potential to be a 3-down running back in the NFL. So it's going to be good to see how it all plays out with all of these running backs. We will be breaking down a lot of these guys, but to see a running back give good effort as far as blocking, running in between the tackles, catching in the perimeter, the list goes on and on when it comes down to this player's talents. And I do like the swagger. He got half of the blonde dreads as well as the black dreads. You can just tell that he has that dog mentality and somebody that can be able to go out there and make a difference. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about Quinshon Judkins and what other players do y'all want to see me break down just like this video. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss out on fire updates and the best football film sessions on YouTube. All right, football family, talk to y'all soon. Gone.